Welcome to Pratibimb, a webinar series for doctors. I am Sulbhit Sharma, your host for the evening. This webinar is brought to you by Dr. Reddy's Foundation for Health Education. Dr. Reddy's Foundation for Health Education has been in the forefront of organizing soft skills and behavioral skills training programs for various healthcare professionals for more than a decade now. Customized training programs are held across the country to bring about transformation in delivering patient care. DRFHE also conducts healthcare awareness sessions for employees of various corporates across India. Dr. Reddy's Foundation for Health Education has impacted more than 250,000 healthcare professionals till date, which includes more than 26,000 senior consultants, 138,000 nurses, more than 33,000 physicians assistants, 17,000 plus pharmacists, and more than 13,000 postgraduate doctors. DRFHE has also engaged more than 230,000 corporate employees through Awareness for Life session till date. The topic for today's Pratibimb webinar series is Managing Your Finances, for which we have with us today Mr. Bhavesh Thakkar, who is business partner of One Stop NRI Advisory Private Limited, which provides one-stop NRI services on investment management, property management, insurance management, family support, income tax planning, and other services. He is also a founder and CEO of Secure Investment Consultant. He also advises businessmen, doctors, and chartered accountants on key man insurance, Married Women Property Act, employer-employee insurance, and conducts annual insurance audits for his clients. So for the convenience of everyone, we would be happy to take the questions at the last. Now, without taking any more time, I would request Mr. Bhavesh to please take over from here. Thank you.
Thank you, Surprit, for such a lovely introduction. My gratitude to Dr. Reddy's for giving me this opportunity to share my views on managing your finances. Good evening to all. But today's topic is divided into two parts. First part would be how to manage your finances in current scenario, in crisis situation. And second part would be how to manage your finances in such a way that even this situation arises in the future, your finances are not impacted at all. So we will talk about few strategies which we can adopt to take care of this kind of situation. So let me first start by saying that this situation is not new. We had been experiencing this kind of situation since decades or since centuries. I got one couplet from Thiruvalluvar, where people know him by Valluvar. He is a well-known poet and a philosopher. And 2,300 years ago, he has written this couplet, and he says, "No catastrophic loss will happen to the wise." Let me repeat: to the wise who can anticipate or foresee and guard against coming evils or risk management. This is basically risk management, but you can understand that 2,300 years ago, people were expecting this kind of situation to come and they were preparing for that. So we are not new to this kind of situation, but let us first understand how to handle this situation in today's scenario. Are we experiencing retirement type situation today? Maybe voluntary or involuntary? Yes, I'm right. This situation is nothing but a forceful or involuntary type of retirement. I mean, we are at home since so many days. So this is like a involuntary type retirement situation. What is to be done today? Now, I would first recommend you few strategies which you can adopt so that the finances which we are handling today is taken care of. The first thing which I would recommend is cash on hand matters. Now, you would have read in you would have got this information from various sources which says cash is king. Absolutely right. Today, if you've got ample cash with you, a cash at least equivalent to 6 to 9 months of your expenses is sufficient enough to take care of this situation. But in case, if you don't have this cash with you, first try to provide for this cash and then start thinking about investment. Otherwise, today's situation is very similar to investing when the future is unknown. We are actually venturing into unknown dark without a torch in hand. It is a plain foolhardy. So you have to be very careful when you invest in this kind of situation. But first thing, cash is king. So provide for cash at least equivalent to 6 to 9 months of your expenses. Second thing I would recommend is social media. Now, social media is right now we are connected through social media. Today, this is a era of social media, and we are actually grateful if we can connect at least to each other. But be careful. This social media is very useful to lighten your mood by sharing some jokes. You can also pass on your professional knowledge to the social media, but don't get carried away by more information. This sometimes goes against our wish or against our strategy. So be careful in what is to be taken in social media and what is not to be taken. Next, business may close down. There is a possibility you may start investing, say example stocks, into the stocks which you feel may perform well as soon as this situation comes out. I mean, people may plan to invest in FMCG stocks, pharmaceutical stocks, and all those companies which would be benefited through this situation. Wait, try to first study the balance sheet. Try to understand whether they are efficient enough to take care of this situation and they can come out easily from this situation as soon as the situation becomes normal. In case you are into a business which is connected with this kind of situation, say you are a business which holds a laboratory and which does testing for this kind of situation, you should invest more. You should see to it you expand or you explore more avenues so that you can take advantage of this situation very well. Now here important thing is, don't take any economic decision unless you are into business of that particular source. Next, I would say that this is not a permanent situation. By responsibility, see, we are not running out of sun, air and water. This situation also will go out. So don't take any decision in hurry. Be responsible, understand the situation and take the decision. Don't get carried away by tips which normally we come across maybe in any of the media. Next, do not obsess about the loss in value of your investment. I know if you would have met 3 months back, your investment portfolio was sounding very profitable. And if I talk about that same portfolio today, it would have eroded by more than 50-60%. Don't get carried away by that. Here, what is important is not wealth, but income. If your income is still continuing, you are lucky enough. If you are into a job and you're getting a proper salary, perfect. Your IPD is still going on, perfect. Don't worry. Here, income is very important. Even your passive income plays a very crucial role here. So here, wealth is not so important as income. So focus more on income. Second, don't get into stocks. Get into cash flow. See which kind of instrument will provide you cash flow, because liquidity plays a very, very crucial role. See, when we recommend people, we tell them invest for 2 types of things. One is your pre-decided goals and one which is called surprise goals. This situation is surprise goal. Here you will get many opportunities, but are you prepared for that? So you need to plan in advance for this kind of situation also. And last thing, I got many doctor clients. They send me a message early morning and they say in the evening they were tracking Nasdaq, they were tracking Dow Jones, and they came to know the US market is either performing, then it's not performing good or it's performing good. And on that basis, they predict what will happen to Indian market. And then they make a list of stocks which they need to acquire in the morning. Don't get carried away by this, because you really don't know when the situation will go reverse way. Focus more on doing any other activity which you can do sitting at home, except making that buying list. So these are few recommendations which I would suggest you in today's scenario. And to share this in detail, let me share with you some tools which will be very useful. Now, before that, I would like to ask you one thing. Are you here to get some investment tips and ideas? If yes, I'm extremely sorry. I'm not going to share any tips with you, because let me share this clip with you and then we will talk why so.
$23, $40, $42, $50. Woo! I become a millionaire! Don't need this junk anymore. I quit. I have won the lottery! No more yes sir, no sir, whatever you say sir, I'm going to retire! Here's your crappy computer!
Life comes at you fast.
Friends, I'm not going to talk about any tips or ideas. and I'm not going to play any magic. If you are expecting me to share some tips which will help you to become millionaires in weeks time or month time, I'm so sorry. The reason for this is there is nothing called as best investment. It is always in the mix, and again there is no standard mix. Now, this is what I've learned from doctors. If someone goes with the symptoms to pharmacist and he says I got headache, for example, what pharmacist will provide him? He will either give him some medicine like Saridon, Anacin or Crocin, maybe some paracetamol. But the same person, when he goes to a doctor, what doctor will do? He will do a diagnosis, he will ask for history, and then he will prescribe a solution. And this solution will be a package of medicines. Now, why this package? Because this package will take care of the problem permanently. And this is what is applicable to investment also. There is nothing called as best investment. If there would have been only one investment which is best, everyone would have put the money there. Why you require different products? There is nothing called as best investment, and it is again always in the mix. I mean, you need to make a package of products. And again, whatever package we recommend to Mr. A may not apply to Mr. B. So never ask your colleagues, okay, which is a good investment or where should I invest. It may happen his personality may suit that product, for you it may not be suitable. So now why I'm telling you this, the dimension of investment, or before we take a call on investment, there are three basic factors which we take into consideration, and they are safety, liquidity, and returns. Tell me a single product which has all the three dimensions available together. You can name a product, you will find at least two or one, but not all the three. Name bank FD. Bank FDs are safe, they are liquidable. But what about returns? After tax, nothing is available, even they can't beat inflation. Name equity. Equity is liquidable. They may provide good returns, but what about safety? So one or the other character is missing. So what we recommend, you should have package of all the products with you. Now to prove this, now when I conduct workshop, I distribute this worksheet to everyone. You can also try at your home after I finish my presentation. See what you need to do, just draw 4 columns, and first column, write down all the instruments or products which you feel needs to be invested in, and second, third, fourth column, all the three dimensions, safety, liquidity, and returns, and give them marks from 1 to 10. Now, common instruments where normally people invest are these 5 instruments. So let us take example of bank FD. Now, according to you, if bank FD are safest instrument, you can give 10 marks or 9 marks, whatever you feel comfortable. Or if you feel, you had some money in Yes Bank or maybe some PMC type of bank and you lost some money and you feel bank FDs are not safe, you can give marks accordingly. If you feel you can easily prematurely withdraw money from the bank, you can give 10 marks because it is liquidable. But if you feel no, it's a lengthy process and you have to go to bank physically and get the things done, not my cup of tea, you may give marks accordingly. When it comes to returns, someone may feel safe returns or good returns, they may give 10 marks irrespective of taking inflation into consideration. But some people may feel no, post-tax returns are very low, it can't even beat inflation, so this is not a good instrument for me, you can give marks accordingly. Same thing or same exercise you follow for gold, property, equities or mutual fund, endowment policies or PPF. Try to do this with spouse if possible, and then compare both the marks. You would be surprised your marks and spouse marks are different. Do one more step. Do one thing, same exercise you repeat tomorrow after 1 day, and you would be again surprised whatever marks you gave yesterday, today that marks are different. Now why this happens? This happens because whatever marks you provide depends on your perception, your experience, and at that particular point of time, what is dominating you? Whether that CNBC TV is dominating you, whether money control is dominating you, Economic Times, your colleague, or whatever information you get from that is dominating you, will actually decide where people invest in. So in case, if I start talking about one product or the other product, few of you would be really interested in, and many of you may feel this is not my cup of tea, so let's ignore this. So that is the reason I'm not going to talk about a single product at all. But what if I provide you with the tool, if I equip you with the tool which will help you to take your own mature decision, which will always see to it your wealth never deteriorates, it always appreciates. How the things would be? I know, super. So let's start. Now, to understand this, first I need to understand what is investment. You would be surprised or you would be knowing this, investment is nothing but a science. Like medical is also science. Science always operates on principles, agreed? Now, when you know it operates on principle, ignoring this principle while investing money is equal to rash driving. And you know outcome of rash driving. Anything may happen. So sometimes you may perform well and sometimes you may not. So what we need to understand is these principles. These principles are actually thumb rule. If you follow them properly, this will help you to reach to your destination without any compromise. Now, these principles are adopted globally and these are accepted by well-known people and this had been taken from them. I would be sharing with you 8 general principles which you need to adopt, which you need to first understand and then adopt. And this will be really a life learning lesson for not only for you, you can share this with your colleagues and other friends as well. The first principle says, if a person adopts the formula income minus expenses equal to savings, he can never become wealthy. See, you earn income, you spend the money, and then whatever is left out, if you spend, if you save, nothing would be left out because expenses will take away everything. You can never become wealthy. So what is the correct formula? The correct formula is income minus savings, left out expenses. Let me repeat. First earn income, then savings, and then left out expenses. I know this is so easy to understand. Let me give you one more example, or let me explain this with metaphor. This will make you understand this concept very well. See, this is river and this is ocean. Now, you know, river water is drinkable, sweet, we can consume that. Ocean water, we can't, it's salty water. Ultimately, river water gets mixed up with ocean water and we lose the utility of that river water. So as a human being, what we do? We try to build a dam or reservoir before this river water mixes up with ocean. And this dam is used for our future. Now, if we compare this with our income and expenses, river is nothing but, it is like an income and ocean is nothing but an expenses. River source is low, I mean 1 or 2. That means income source is either I am the only person who is a breadwinner or maybe spouse or maybe 2 or 3 people. So source of income is very low or very less. But what about expenses? I got my family expenses, child expenses, business expenses. I got credit cards to pay. I got EMIs. I got salaries to be paid. I got rentals. I got maintenance and so many other things. So there is no end to expenses. If you allow your income to be exposed to expenses, nothing would be left out. So what you need to do is inculcate habit of saving as soon as you earn. You know, when I started my career, I used to give piggy bank to doctors. I'm not joking, I'm very serious. I used to tell them, as soon as you finish your OPD, just put 500 rupees note into the piggy bank and then leave out. If they don't, they take that note in their house and that is spent. So these 500 rupees a day will reach to 1,85,000 at the end of 1 year. If they put 1,000 rupees, 3,65,000. And if they put 2,000 rupees a day, it will be 7.2 lakhs a year. And if you practice this for 20 years, 1.5 crores. This is how wealth is generated. So as soon as you earn money, start saving. Although this is a basic thing which we had been recommended by our grandparents as well. So this is principle number 1 of investment. Principle number 2 says regularity is the key to wealth. Key to wealth is not ROI, IRR or CAGR. I think you would be very well versed with ROI, IRR and CAGR. In common terms, this is called returns on money. Now, suppose if we would have met 10 years back, we would have loved to share or interact on property market because that was doing extremely good 10 years back. Today, everyone is expecting me to talk about equity market and mutual funds. I don't know what will happen to this market tomorrow. But just assume that you invest in property market. Now property market from 2002-3 to 2012-13, it would have multiplied 10 times. And suppose you start investing in 2012-13, wrong time. As soon as you enter into the market, market crashes. And then you feel that someone else is making money in equity market. So by the time you start thinking about equity market, it's already 2019. So market is at 42,000. So already that market has given those returns and now you're switching from property market to equity market. And now what next? Because today the market is in a bad shape. So you may feel gold would be one of the good instruments to invest. Wait, don't move money from one pocket to other pocket just for sake of returns. Understand, regularity is more important. So for example, if you got some SIPs, please don't stop this SIP in this situation. If you got some PPF account, continue contributing to PPF regularly. If you got some LIC policies, don't surrender that. Continue that LIC policy as well. This regularity will help you to create wealth. This is very important and this is one of the important principles for investment. Third principle is start early, treat safely. I need not explain this in detail, but everyone knows how this works. This is nothing but magic of compounding. Now, let me give you one small example in medical terms. Suppose some patient comes to you and he comes with a bad infection and he says, doctor, I've been suffering from particular symptom. Can you please help me to get it treated quickly? The first question you would ask is, okay, when did this start? And he says, 1 week back. Then the next question would be, what did you do? And he says, I started with homely treatment. And then you ask, then what next? So what he says, after 2 or 3 days, when he could not get a solution, he went to his medical store friend and he suggested him some medicine, which he took for a few days, but even that did not solve the problem. And so he has come to the doctor and is expecting doctor to solve his problem quickly, immediately. What would be your response? I'm sure my doctor friends, they say, if we tell these people, if he would have come 7 days back, he would have treated the patient quickly. But now he has to wait. He has to pass through the process. Same thing applies in investment. If you start early, at a younger age, you would be slowly able to create a wealth. But if you delay, it is difficult to create wealth. My experience says doctors normally start investment somewhere close to 45 age. And the basic reason for this is, normally doctors, they study till 25, 30. Then they get settled down, which takes a little bit more time compared to other professions. And then family. So by the time they're 45, 50, they start thinking about themselves. Something has to be done for their own self. And then they come to us and then they say, okay, we have got 10 years and we want our money to grow exponentially. Just show us some good idea and we will grow our money. So we have got only 2 options. Option 1 is invest more and option 2 is take more risk. There is no other option. But the best option is, if you would have started at a younger age, even with a small amount, would have helped you to reach to your goal without taking more risk. So this is principle number 3. Principle 4 says, gold and greed can never stay together. Again, suppose this November 2019 or maybe October 19, if you would have met and I would have seen your portfolio, which was running in a good amount of profit. If I would have recommended you to sell that portfolio and book the profit, what would be the reaction? I am sure everyone has economic figures. GDP, the rate of GDP at which India is growing, about $5 trillion economy after 2024. All these factors says our market will boost up in future. So everyone says the market is not going to fall. It is still going to go further up. So we will not sell our portfolio. But what is the situation today? It has already eroded 50-60%. Now let me give you a concrete example, which says gold and greed. Suppose you got physical gold with you. Now that gold price has gone up. Now notionally you made profit. You want to earn that profit. To earn that profit, you have to sell the gold, but you are very sentimental with gold. Don't want to sell the gold, but still you want to enjoy the profit. This is not possible. So either you can have physical gold or greed. You can't have 2 things together. Remember one thing, there are 2 things which you need to book or they will run away. And they are profit and thief. These 2 people, if you don't catch hold of, they will just run away. So principle 4 says gold and greed can never stay together. That means whenever you make profit, start booking the profit and focus on goals rather than a product. That I'm going to cover up in detail. My 5th principle is purpose must decide the choice. And I'm going to cover up this in detail in few slides from now. The 6th principle says financial pyramid. One of my best principle. And if possible, make a note of this particular principle, because this will help you to not only secure your wealth, but multiply this wealth many folds. 7th principle talks about draw the map before you start the journey. And this is nothing but financial goal. This also I'm going to cover up in detail. And the last principle says professional support helps. You are professional, so you value professionals. And let us see how these professional people can guide you in creating a wealth. So let's start. Asset. See, our purpose of this presentation is to manage finance. That means to acquire more and more asset. Now, before we acquire asset, let us understand there are 2 purposes of asset. And they are, first, to be used like car, self-occupied house. So we are using that asset, which is perfectly all right. And the second purpose is to give cash when required. So that asset should be such an asset which should be in a position to provide you cash whenever you require. Now, what does this mean? This is a beautiful concept called cash to cash cycle. Very beautiful concept. And we can understand this very easily because if we are earning cash, whatever amount of income we earn is in cash, and ultimately whatever is our purpose, that is going to be taken care of through cash. My children education to my retirement, everywhere I will require cash. But what we do in this period is we acquire some assets. And these assets are in the form of house, jewelry, stocks, insurance, PPF, FDs, and so on. Now, just imagine a situation where you need to take an admission for a child for some medicine and you don't have cash, but you got some jewelry. Will that college accept jewelry as an contribution towards admission? No. If you got property, will they accept property papers? No. They want only cash. So in other words, to conclude this, I would say cash is king and assets are only intermediaries. So don't be sentimental with assets. Assets are intermediaries. They are meant basically to serve one or the other purpose. And what are that purposes? Let us understand. So whenever you acquire asset or whenever you buy assets, just ask three things. When this money would be required, how much money would be required, and for what purpose this money would be required. After you answer these three questions, then try to sort out which assets is going to fulfill this particular need. So let us understand this principle, which is purpose must decide the choice. Now for this, we need to first understand what are our financial priorities. It goes bottom up. Now what does that mean? My first priority is duties and responsibility. Duties towards my family, towards my staff, towards all my colleagues and society. So this is my duties and responsibility, which is first priority. Second is self-reliance. Now what do we mean by self-reliance? So this is mental state of mind. Doctors, they always assume that they are going to work till last breath. And I appreciate that. In fact, doctors should work till last breath. But the purpose of working differs. Up to a particular age, you work for some commitment, for some goals. And after a particular age, you work either for a passion or a social objective, or just because you got skill, don't want to go that west. That can be one of the purpose. But for that, what you need is self-reliance. In my life, I have never raised my hand this way. It was always this way. And this should not happen anytime in my lifetime. This is called self-reliance. My third priority is ambitions. See, my purpose of working is I want to enjoy my life. So there are some ambition which I need to fulfill. That can be going for a luxurious car, going for international vacation everywhere, or anything else which gives you motivation to work more harder, which rejuvenates you. These goals are also required to be fulfilled. But this is called ambition, and this is my third priority. And my last priority is legacy. Now what legacy means? Whatever assets I have earned or I have created, I want to pass on this to my next generation. Now here, one important thing I would like to share with you. When I do this one-to-one exercise with my clients, and I tell them, we have to work on self-reliance, they say, don't worry, we have got 3-4 properties. And if required, I will sell off one property, which will take care of my self-reliance. Wait, you can be right. But this situation is something similar to, I got a treatment for cardiac ailments. And if I develop orthopedic problems, can I use same treatment? No. So sometimes your formula may go right, and many a times it can go wrong, because we don't know what kind of situation, what kind of calamity will come when we retire. So don't depend on one product for other need. You need to earmark your assets very well in advance. To understand this, let us first understand what is self-reliance. Why not prepare for voluntary retirement? And this is nothing but financial freedom. Again, I am telling, I'm not asking you to physically retire. I'm asking you to prepare for financial freedom. Because once you prepare for financial freedom, any situation which comes in future, maybe similar situation, crisis situation, you won't be impacted at all, at least financially. So let's see how to provide for this kind of situation. Now, let us do a mapping. If you want to draw a map, you can even draw this map after I finish my presentation. So today we are here. Just go back when you were born till you became independent. You were dependent on your parents. So you were supported by someone. Then came a stage where you became independent. Now your supported stage would be 25 to 30 years, depends till what age you get education. Independent stage can be 4 to 5 years, where you are not dependent on anyone. Neither of your person are dependent on you, or any family member is dependent on you. This is independent stage. But today and tomorrow, you are supportive. So now family depends on you. And this supportive stage, or this is a journey, there would be different junctions. And these junctions are basically categorized in two categories. One is not negotiable junctions, and one is nice to have junctions. Now, not negotiable junctions are nothing but your duties and responsibility and self-reliance. the bottom two layers of that priorities. And nice to haves are your ambitions and legacy, which will give me a kick, which will motivate me to work harder, which will rejuvenate me. So I need to achieve both the junctions during my journey. And remember, there's a destination. And this destination has three basic parts. The first part says, okay, I want to remain independent, not only independent, but independent and contributing as well. Or the second destination takes me to depend on children or society. And third is struggling for life. Now, what do we mean by struggling for life? At the age of 75, I open my clinic, I wait for an OPD, I wait for a patient because I need to maintain my asset. I got my Audi and Mercedes, I need to maintain that. If that is a situation, that means you are struggling. We never want this situation to come in our life. Most of the people, they would prefer to have independent and contributing life throughout their life. Now to achieve this, what we need to do is, the first thing, this is not negotiable junction. This not negotiable junction, we can divide into three parts. Here I have given an example of education. Suppose we plan for children education and we assume that my child should go for a medical stream. Now, if I ask you one question, how much amount would be required for his education when say he's 18 years, when he takes admission into the college, and you say 1 crore. My next question would be, what if you get 50 lakhs? And you say, that's fine, we can manage. My next question would be, what if you get 25 lakhs? And you say, no, please stop. 50 lakh is minimum. I can't expect anything less than 50 lakhs. Otherwise, that may create a problem in admission. So this 50 lakh is nothing but minimum level of requirement. What you said, 1 crore was a reasonable level. And in case, if you get 2 crores, this would be aspirational level. So what I did, one goal, I divided into three parts: minimum level, reasonable level, and aspirational level. Now, why dividing this? Because I need to decide where I have to invest. Now, people normally invest taking present condition for future. Now, minimum level has to be invested through a product which is no risk product. No risk means your return of capital is much more important than return on capital. So here I would be choosing a product which I'm going to share in next slide. Okay, what kind of product can satisfy this particular character? The second level is reasonable level, where I can take moderate amount of risk. Here I can take risk so that I can at least try to beat inflation. And this will also help me to achieve reasonable level of my goal. And aspirational level is I can take aggressive risk. My minimum level is taken care of, my reasonable level is taken care of. Now I can go to aspirational level. If I skip 2 levels and directly jump to aspirational level, it may go away. So don't take that risk at all. Now let us understand what do I mean by that. Now for that, this is a small slide which will give you an idea. Okay, normally what we do with our income and expenses. See, this green line is my income and yellow line is my expenses. And I use my metaphysical energy to earn money. In other words, I use body, mind, and time to earn money. Now, if you look at this green line, up to age 50, 45, 50, 55, my income will increase steeply. After that, my income will increase, but maybe inflationary increase because my focus gets diverted to my children career, or my stamina decreases, or maybe any other reason. But I try to maintain that income which at least gives me increase of more than inflation. And after particular age, my income may come down. I'm using the word may because we are professionals. So it may happen that my income may even go further up. But mostly, this is the statistics which we have gathered. Okay, income moves in this direction. But look at yellow line. Yellow line is nothing but my expenses. And this will never come down. If you look this graph, after 65, 70, this will increase more steeply because of old age medical expenses and other requirements. Now, whatever thing you are looking at this particular portion, this is a vacuum or this is my potential. Now, where we use this potential, income minus expenses, most of the time people use this for contributing EMI. Now, why we take EMI? For comfort and pride. So in case if I bought some house on loan, I need to pay that EMI because I need comfort. If I bought some hospital equipments on EMI, because I need to take care of certain things which will either give me comfort in either a surgery or performing some task or a pride feeling, maybe car or maybe anything else. So first I need to keep aside my income towards EMI contribution. My second level would be, or second priority would be FMI. Now, what is FMI? Don't worry, this is not in dictionary because this is my baby, and FMI is family monthly investment. So FMI is nothing but my love towards my family, duty towards my family. So here I talk about vacations for my family. Here I talk about extracurricular activities for my children and so on. So then I focus on EMI, then I focus on FMI, and then if left out, I put in PMI. Now what is PMI can be? PMI is nothing but personal monthly investment. And this is my personal investment for my own self so that I maintain that dignity and autonomy, which I am enjoying right now. In other words, this is nothing but self-reliance stage. This is nothing but voluntary retirement stage. This is nothing but what we are facing today, involuntary retirement, which is forced on us. Instead of that, it should be voluntary retirement. So dignity and autonomy is self-law, which I need to attain. And this is only possible if I focus on PMI. And let me tell you, thumb of rule says that 20% of your income should be invested for PMI, which is normally large priority in my investment. Now, the most important concept I'm going to share with you is financial pyramid. If possible, make a note of the same. Now, what is financial pyramid? Financial pyramid has 5 layers. The bottom layer is protection. Now here I'm talking about protecting my current income and protecting my future income as well. Second layer is risk-free growth. As I mentioned in last slide, here return of capital is much more important than return on capital. So capital safety is more important here. The third layer is growth with risk. Here I am ready to take some risk because now I want to beat inflation. I need to earn something which is at least better than inflation. Otherwise, my returns would be negative. My fourth layer is high growth. Here I try to multiply my wealth. After I beat inflation, now I want to multiply, I want to grow my wealth exponentially. So this is possible at fourth layer. And after that, if you're left out with extra money, the fifth layer is nothing but speculation. If you have got extra money, remember, now just look at this pyramid. This pyramid is divided into 3 parts, the bottom 2 layer and upper 3 layers. So bottom 2 layer are basic. Now here, let me give you one example of football match. I know everyone would be watching football match. In football match, people clap for striker when they hit the goal. But just imagine a situation where there is no goalkeeper at all. How that match would be. I know it's baseless to talk about. With no goalkeeper, no goal post, it makes no sense in hitting the goal. So understand, this pyramid is nothing but a situation like a football match wherein protection is goalkeeper, risk-free growth is defender, and growth with risk, high growth and speculations are strikers. They will help you to achieve your goals faster. But people clap only for strikers. But remember, goalkeeper and defender are equally important in your match. So let us understand this in detail. How to achieve protection or protecting my flow of income current, which is and as well as future. You can achieve this through a proper term insurance, adequate health insurance, professional indemnity, and critical illness cover. Thumb of rule says your insurance should be equal to 10 times of your annual income. Your health cover, your PI, or critical illness cover should be equal to 5 times of your income so that your stability is maintained throughout. And this is nothing but remember, not negotiable goal, and this is your duty as well. Going further, protecting the capital. Here I can invest in life insurance, endowment plan, PPF, bank FD, RBI bonds, or any secure bonds for that stake. Now here secure bonds means where capital is protected 100%. And these I can use to achieve my not negotiable goal, wherein minimum level of goal, where I shared with you, I don't want to take any amount of risk. So for children education, up to that minimum level has to be achieved through this product. For self-reliance, minimum level has to be achieved through these products. Now, once I achieve this, I go further up and then I focus on mutual funds, equities, and ULIPs. Here, purpose of investment is not negotiable goals, but which reasonable level and aspirational level, where I am ready to take moderate risk and aggressive risk. So here I am talking about SIPs. SIPs can very well take care of your moderate risk goals, which is your reasonable level goals. And aggressive goals are maybe mid cap, small cap fund, or direct equity, wherein you can take more amount of risk to make money. So this will help you to achieve your not negotiable goals as well as nice to have goals. Now suppose when I was talking to you about ambitions, my ambition is to buy say a luxurious car, or I want to go for a vacation. I decide to go for a vacation in say 2021 and I want to provide for say 25 lakhs. Now I got say 18 months with me. Now if I do calculation, And if I invest around 1.25 lakhs every month, I would be able to achieve this goal. But this is bit impossible. I don't want to do this. So what I try to do, I try to adopt a strategy where I will take more risk and I try to earn more money by contributing less amount. And if market supports me and if I achieve my goal, I will go for a vacation. But due to any circumstances, if market is not in my favor, I can postpone my nice to have goals. I can't postpone not negotiable goal, but I can postpone nice to have goal. So I can select a product which is an aggressive risk product for nice to have goals, and that can help me to earn more money as well. Going further, I can multiply my wealth by investing in real estate or venture capital. Now, real estate, I did not say you can invest in hospitals, you can invest in property. What do I mean by venture capital? This is a time where you can think about buying a hospital, acquiring neighborhood hospital, or building up a new hospital. This stage, you can think about multiplying your wealth. Remember, 1, 2, 3. After achieving 3 layers, you can go to 4th layer. This is a pyramid. Don't jump onto the 4th layer at initial stage. If it falls, your wealth will never be accumulated. So remember this. And basic purpose of real estate is most of the time legacy. This is nice to have, because if I got 2 or 3 properties, I am sure I'm not going to use that second property. It is anyway going to pass on to my next generation. And last, after these 4 layers, if I am left out with extra money, I can do F&Os and derivatives, or even I can play in casinos. That's my choice. And this will help me to enjoy my king size life. This is nice to have and king size life. Here, I can go to Maldives, I can book a resort, which is 25 lakhs a night. I can travel always in business class, and whatever is my wish, I can achieve this through king size life. Now, this is a financial pyramid. If you look into this pyramid, this will take care of all the answers, queries, or doubts you have. You can invest in all the products simultaneously, but step by step. And before investing, you need to earmark what is the purpose of that investment. If you connect all my previous slides, you would be able to understand that all investment is possible. You can diversify into different baskets. But important thing here is self-reliance. Make yourself independent, achieve financial freedom. Now, how this can be done? Let us see this. Our role or our vision is to replace your earning power by an asset that can earn income for you. See, we decided, now till now, I have already consulted 5,000 plus professionals. My wish, my vision is to at least give guidance to 1 lakh people on this particular subject. I want to help them achieve financial freedom. To understand this, first I need to understand what are the types of income. There are 4 types of income. The first type of income is active income. Now, active income is nothing but income coming from my profession, from my OPD, from my IPD, from my job. Here I am using my body, mind, and time. So this is my active income. Second income is semi-active income. Now, semi-active income is nothing but a combination of body, mind, time plus an asset. Example, rental income. Now, to earn rental income, I need not be active all day. I can be active once in a month or once in a while to look for a tenant or to collect a rent. So that is why this is called semi-active income. The third income is passive but not guaranteed. Now, this income is passive. This income is also available today, although there's a lockdown, but this income is available but not guaranteed. And this income is nothing but dividend type of income, which comes from mutual funds or equity. So passive but not guaranteed. And the last and the most important income is passive and guaranteed. Now, what does this mean? Every month, first of the month, as soon as bank, they open the door, X amount of money is credited to your account. You are sitting at home, you are traveling abroad, wherever you are, but this amount gets credited to your account without you visiting the bank. This is passive income and guaranteed income. And this is nothing but pensions or annuity. As a wise investor, you should have all the 4 incomes into your basket. But as and when age increases, first 3 income should get replaced by 4th income. Or the day when your passive and guaranteed, this 4th income exceeds active income, you achieve financial freedom. Or in other words, or in a simpler terms, I would say, when your requirements are taken care of through passive and guaranteed income, you achieve financial freedom. If you look at this table, Y by Z, Y is what? Passive and guaranteed, and Z is my requirement. So when Y by Z is 100% or more, you achieve financial freedom. Now, this financial freedom has 7 levels. and we have to understand at what level you are today. I'm not going to talk about all the levels today, but I'm going to touch with you some important levels. First level is basically tax planning. So I'm not going to touch that. I assume everyone has taken care of tax planning. So let us talk about level 2 first. Level 2 talks about continuation of income planning post death and post retirement. Assume my standard of living is 1 lakh rupees a month today. God forbid, if something goes wrong to me today, my family should get same 1 lakh rupees every month till they survive. So this is first thing. Second, when I retire, say after 20 years, retirement self-reliance. So when I want to retire, say after 20 years, I should get same 1 lakh rupees. What is my today's expenses? If that is taken care of, if that is being provided, I achieve level 2. But I am sure this is not going to help me. Why? Because there's one more factor which we are not accounted for. And let us understand this through a small clip.
अरे आ रहा हूँ
गैस बाबूजी
हाँ कितना हुआ भाई
1248
1200 हो गया बाबूजी कितना हुआ 60 रुपए
एक सरदर्द की गोली देना यार
144 रुपए
क्या इतना महंगा हाउस इज पॉसिबल यार
बिल्कुल पॉसिबल है आज नहीं पर 20 साल बाद मतलब रिटायरमेंट के बाद ना जवानी रहेगी ना आमदनी क्या करोगे तब महंगाई देखिए आज 15,000 में घर चल जाता है कल 1 लाख रुपया भी कम पड़ जाएगा
तो करें क्या
अरे पता करो एग्जैक्टली कितना होना चाहिए आपका पेंशन अमाउंट
So this is nothing but inflation. So if today my living cost or standard of living is 1 lakh a month, what do you think my living cost should be after 20 years? Now suppose I have done a planning which in case of my death 1 lakh is taken care of for my family, which is my today's standard of living. But after 20 years when I plan to retire, this 1 lakh will become 3,90,000 at 7% inflation. If I have done this planning, super, congratulations. I am at level 3 of my financial freedom. If not, you need to first focus on this. I'm not going to touch level 4, 5, 6, 7 now because for this, I need some information from your side. But level 2 and level 3 are very basic and very important. Now I'm going to talk about last thing and last slide is professional support helps. Now you being a professional, I need not talk about this in detail, but let us see this.
मैंने सुना है वो 3 महीने का सैलरी अपने को ऐसा बोनस मिलने वाला
मैंने भी सुना है
यार मैंने तो पहले ही सोच के रखा है घर वालों को ना ये बोनस वोनस के बारे में बताऊंगा ही नहीं वरना वो खर्चे की लिस्ट पहले ही मेरे हाथ में दे देंगे और फ्यूचर के लिए भी इन्वेस्ट करना है यार तू बता ना कहाँ इन्वेस्ट करूं
अरे लखान हाँ भैया जी इस बार दिवाली पे जो बोनस मिलने वाला है उसे कहाँ इन्वेस्ट करना चाहिए
तू पागल है क्या वो लखन से क्या पूछ रहा है कुछ कॉमन सेंस है कि नहीं तुझ में
क्यों भाई अरे वो भी तो कमाता है कहीं ना कहीं तो इन्वेस्ट करता ही होगा
हाँ लेकिन किसी को सलाह दे सके इतना एक्सपर्ट तो नहीं है वो
मतलब तुझ में इतना तो कॉमन सेंस है कि सही सलाह किसी एक्सपर्ट से लेनी चाहिए
हाँ तो
मैं भी तेरे तरह एक सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलपर हूँ कोई फाइनेंशियल एक्सपर्ट नहीं इसीलिए कहता हूँ कोई भी डिसीजन लेने से पहले किसी प्रोफेशनल फाइनेंशियल एडवाइजर से पूछ और फिर इन्वेस्ट कर
भैया जी ये सही है
So professional support, what does that mean? Now, I know when I share with doctors and they tell me that there are many patients who come to you and then they come with all the information ready with them. They come with a diagnosis already. They know what is a diagnosis and they talk in technical words like, doctor, I got an MI. Please take me to cath lab, do angiography. If there are more damages, do CABG or otherwise angioplasty. When they use this kind of language, what do we call them? Few of my doctor clients, they call these people as Google Babas. So these are the people who first do all kinds of, they gather all kind of information and then instead of asking doctor, they suggest doctor what is to be done. So as a professional, what role is left out for people like you and me? Remember, same thing applies in financial profession as well. We have got certain tools which are called diagnosis tools, which actually help people to achieve their goal. So my strong recommendation, go to your financial advisor, ask them to use certain tools like this Y by Z, which I just shared with you in details to understand what kind of passive income you will require in future, or use A by H type of tool, which helps you to understand in which risk zone you are today and what kind of risk appetite you possess today. What is your personality type? Whether you can take risk or you can't take risk. Whether you are getting carried away by the information available from outside source or there is someone who is dominating you. These are the tools which actually help us to understand risk appetite, personality, goals, requirement, perceptions, nature. And then after discussing all this, we come to a solution which we recommend to people to go for. So this is what is the role of a financial advisor. And I suggest, I request you to please go to your professional financial advisor, ask them to do this kind of exercise with you, and then decide where to invest rather than directly asking for tips and ideas. So with this, I end my presentation. I'm open to questions. In case if you want to ask questions, you can ask these questions right away. Or if you want to ask questions on my personal email is mentioned here. My mobile number is 982119565. You can directly call on this number and you can talk to me anytime. You can also visit my YouTube channel, and I have already addressed issues related to moratorium, to tax instrument extension till 30th June, to myths about investment. Already has been shared in my YouTube channel. If you want, you can just go through that. And again, you got some more questions, you can ask me right now. Thank you so much for patience listening.
Thank you, Mr. Bhavesh. I hope I'm audible.
Yeah, you're audible.
Great. So we have a couple of questions. We can take them right away. So the first one comes from Dr. Ashish. He asked, in present scenario, SIPs to be continued as they are or no?
They have to be contributed. Please don't stop.
Continue, no?
Please don't stop.
Okay. Then we have like suppose somebody is currently 40 years old and he's earning around 2 lakhs per month and he wants to get retired by the age of 60.
Okay.
Right, and post 60 he wants to have the earning of around 1 lakh per month.
Okay.
So what are the things which you would suggest in a
Now
case?
here let me ask you one question. 1 lakh per month as per today's standard of living, or is talking about 1 lakh per month 20 years down the line?
So yes, I think 20 years down the line.
Because 1 lakh after 20 years is equivalent to 25,000 of today's, huh?
Yeah, correct. You're right.
So he needs to, in case if he's planning for 1 lakh per month as per today's standard of living, he needs to provide for 4 lakhs at least per month.
Okay.
And for that, he needs to decide out of this 4 lakh, how much minimum amount he should be having. Suppose he says even 2 lakh will do. These 2 lakh should come from instruments like PPF.
Right.
From instruments which gives him guaranteed returns like recurring deposit, like LIC, like some bonds, which are assured and guaranteed.
Okay.
And after that, other amount he can provide through SIPs, through equity market, through ULIPs.
Right. So the next one is my short and ultra short debt funds have turned negative. Please
Right.
tell me, should I stick?
Suppose if you remove, what is the other option available? It's very difficult to comment. So I would suggest in case if your funds has got exposure in instruments like Yes Bank or the banks which are defaulted like ILFS, DHFL, then please come out. If not, then stick to it. Because Nippon is one of the fund which has huge exposure in Yes Bank. So I recommended my people, my clients to come out of that fund even though you are in loss. Otherwise, stick to it.
Okay. Next one is, how safe are banks and bank deposits in the current situation?
Nationalized banks are very safe because government is there to support you. Although insurance is only up to 5 lakhs in today's scenario, but don't worry, any bank which is nationalized bank is taken care by government, so entire money is safe. But when it comes to cooperative banks, very risky, very, very risky. Private banks depends upon which bank it is, but even private banks are exposed to risk.
Okay. Then next one we have, what is your take on the gold bonds advantages and disadvantages?
I would recommend to go for gold bond. I am assuming you are asking about sovereign gold bond. If you are asking for sovereign gold bond, I would suggest if you got some money available with you, please invest. It would give you good returns and it is a safe haven investment.
Okay. Right. Any particular comments on the mutual funds investment which you would recommend?
If you are already existing investor with mutual fund, I would recommend you to continue with SIPs. Don't go for lump sum investment in this scenario. If you are new, you can start with SIP as well as some lump sum investment, because this is a good opportunity to buy units at a lesser price. You will get more units. So if you got liquidity, if you're a new investor, start with lump sum plus SIP. If you are already existing investor, continue with SIP, or you can do more SIPs in this scenario.
Okay. Then Dr. Ajay Badwar asks, is the term insurance, is it beneficial to take with return of income option or no?
See, what is the purpose of term insurance? The basic purpose of term insurance is safety. There are basically two reasons why people go for term insurance. First, if I'm a breadwinner and if something goes wrong to me, my family should be safeguarded. And second purpose is if I got some liability, I need to cover up that liability. Now, when my basic purpose is protection, why should I go for return of premium option? You should basically go with without return of premium option.
Okay, right. There's one interesting one coming up. Is there a way to preserve capital gain account amount without taking new property?
So can you come back? Capital gain on?
So is there a way to preserve the capital gain amount, maybe it's referring to the capital gain tax amount, without taking the new property?
You can invest in capital gain bonds, 54 EC section, but that amount is to 50 lakhs rupees in a year. So you can save that capital gain just by investing in bonds. No need to invest in property.
Right. Fair enough. So I think, Mr. Bhavesh, I would request the other questions, if unanswered and if unasked, I would request you to please reach out to Mr. Bhavesh. The number is mentioned here on the screen, I guess. So looks okay. Thank you so much, everyone. I think I am sure the session has benefited all of us. From Dr. Reddy's Foundation for Health Education, we thank you all. And of course, Mr. Bhavesh, for the time. And all the doctors, thank you so much for your patient listening.
Thank you so much, Dr. Reddy's. Thank you, doctors. Thank you. Thank you once again.